do this.
Let's do this. Let's do
this. It's time to do this.
Dual.
S. Soup. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to SMSoup, the number one podcast with soup in the name, but not on the brain. I'm Spencer.
And I'm Shelby.
Together, we're here to take you on a journey through life's biggest questions, like... Waiter.
Oh, God.
Waiter.
That's why I asked for your help in public.
Waiter. Oh, my God. How is this soup even made?
Wow.
Shelby, how are you?
I'm good. You know what? I'll say it. I'm good.
Wow. Everybody give it up for Shelby. Shelby's doing good.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Miracles
it.
happen.
It do happen.
Is hitting a washer bolt.
Yeah, washer is the thing making the noise.
This thing is...
My chair's busted, guys. Update no one wants. Chair's busted. I need a new one. But am I going to pay for that? Absolutely not. In fact, I actually keep convincing myself I'm going to make a cover for it and all will be fine, as if the busted chair still won't be busted underneath the cover.
Oh, God.
Because it's about the friends we make along the way. No, but I'm good. I have some small updates. One, by small updates, I think I can only think of one off the top of my head, but I thought I had more.
Okay.
My camera challenge.
Yeah.
This is a sad one. This is a sad day for us all.
Uh-huh.
All my cameras are gone. No, I'm joking. So I was working on my camera we're in March, for April. It was my first, I need to repair this camera in some capacity to make it work. And I thought this was going to be the easiest repair of all of my camera repairs. Hence why, glad I didn't start the year with it. Glad I had a few months to figure it out. Yeah, I left myself only like 3 weeks to figure it out, but that's fine. But it'd be a good stepping stone to future repairs in my cameras. It's just a 35 millimeter. I had saved a few links of what I thought was wrong with it. Spent most of an evening tinkering, cleaning, a lot of battery corrosion. I'm approaching what I think is the end of being done, and I'm like almost ready to just like set it out for an evening to like dry, because I've been using, acetone and shit to clean it.
Right. And then you dropped it and it shattered into a million pieces.
Not quite, but not that far off. No, literally, I'm just like moving, and like a spring that the thing that like touches the battery so that it actually like, draws power into the camera. I forget what that's called, the coil thingy. Was bent a weird way, and I was like, oh, I must have like pushed it hard when I was cleaning. And so I was like, let me just push it down. The whole thing just snapped off. I'd spent a few hours cleaning, tinkering.
Yeah.
And I'm now just looking at a quite literally unusable battery pack that was becoming to come to light. That was my only way of making this camera function. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do. It's frustrating and sad.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where it's like, I don't want to immediately cut my losses, because it's like I spent most of an evening, and I like the whole point was setting out to fix them.
Yeah.
By now having broken it further and cutting my losses, is that defeating the whole purpose of it? Of what I think could be a usable 35 millimeter camera?
Right.
Like, I don't know, guys. I'm thinking about it. I'm really sad, actually. I know no one cares, but any replacement parts that I like seem to be easily findable are for like a standard battery pack. And this is not a standard battery pack. It's like shaped weird. It has like layer. It's a little off from what would be like in most things we put like double and triple A's into.
Right.
So it's not just an easy like, oh, just get a new part. Because I'm not confident that would work. And I don't really feel like messing around with soldering or soldering. Is there an L in there?
There is an L in there.
But do we not say it?
But I don't think you say it.
Okay, soldering. Sorry. I don't really feel like learning that right now. Maybe in the future of my life. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I haven't decided if I'm skipping. The problem is my month after April
also needs to be
fixed, and it's a more complicated fix than my March one was, than my April one was.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what what I'm doing, you know?
Yeah, we do.
But
We
other
know.
than that, I'm good. How are you, Spencer?
I'm glad you got back there because I literally was gonna go. And
Are
you're
you
good?
okay? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just sad about
I'm
that.
I'm all right.
Just all right.
Just all right.
One day we'll get you.
Yeah, I don't really know if I have anything to report on.
Mm.
While you were talking, my lady farted.
Yeah, and then tried to check out her own
And then
butt.
she was checking out her own butt, like, where is that smell coming from? So that was interesting to watch. Now she's just kind of like sad mugging me right now.
Yeah.
It's making me uncomfortable. Yeah, I don't really know if I have any fun or solid updates. Just been busy with like work stuff, which has sucked
Sure.
and has kind of just taken all the joy out of my life.
God, I'm so sorry.
And yeah, I don't know if I have anything else.
Wow.
Weekends have been very good, I would say.
Yeah.
Like here of late, getting to hang out with like friends and do little things, and
We're like the closest we've been to what is the social aspect of college
since college.
Yeah,
definitely.
In like a very positive way. Like people being like, does anyone want to do anything tonight? And people are like, yeah, fuck it. Come over, or my door is open, or let's go here.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it just happens. You're not like having to plan like a month in advance.
Right.
And all of that. And sometimes there's like good and bad. The type of people you and I are, we're like, we hate in the moment plans. But we also are like, okay, but we know it'll be really fun. We have to like have that talk.
Yeah.
We know it'll be good. We know we should do it. Like our weeks are crazy. So like getting to have a few hours of just fun on the weekend is good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost probably a positive that it's made in the moment and we're not like somewhat dreading it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there is the benefit of that. We're not like, another thing we have to do. It comes up out of nowhere.
For sure.
So we can't even like fester on it for longer than like 20 minutes because it's either happening or it's not. So that's great.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that's been pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to be social.
And it just feels like overall, like, I mean, we've had fairly busy Saturdays, but like it doesn't feel like, oh my God, suddenly it's over. And then our Sundays have been like immaculate.
Yeah.
Like as good as a Sunday can be.
Truly.
I mean, they've gone by slow.
Mm-hmm.
We look up and we look at the clock and it's like, how is it only this time? This is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like the weekend comes and is like immediately gone right now, which has been really nice.
Yeah.
So
agreed.
Definitely been enjoying that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I really have much of anything else. MLB The Show came out.
Hell yeah, I did.
So shout out to any in-between free time that I have.
For the next 3 to 6 months.
Yeah, probably for the next 7 months, I would imagine. I probably fell off. Well, no, postseason goes into October.
Yeah.
Well into October. Sometimes it stretches and touches November. So, yeah, 8 months.
The rest of the year.
8 months.
Here we go.
And then I'll probably start to fall off harder.
That's incredible. We're here.
Do you ever have a moment? You're walking down the street.
Because I had nothing. Yeah.
You're walking down the street and you're like, oh my God, that's my friend.
Uh-huh.
And so you run across the street, avoiding traffic, just to get over to the person and realize it's not your friend. But you were so sure. Or do you ever have a moment where, similar to like Jinx, right? Where you and I would like say the same thing at the same time.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
But it keeps happening.
Sure.
Over and over and over again.
Sure.
Do you ever have moments where it seems like something impossible and so unlikely just happened, but it continues to happen anyway? Some people would refer to that as potentially a simulation breaking experience. Something that this can't possibly have happened, but yet here we are. Somewhere in the up there.
Oh, wow.
The person who is controlling our little Sims world,
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
accidentally copied an asset wrong,
Mm-hmm.
or pasted an asset wrong,
Mm-hmm.
or allowed for an interaction to happen that wasn't supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it would be fun to try and, go through any moments like that we've had. And it's hard to like stop and think about, because only ones that are so intense really
Yeah.
will like stick in your mind, right? Like deja vu,
Yeah.
right?
Is that a simulation breaking experience?
It's a good question.
I have like actually, I struggled with this so much, like truly so much. Like we've been like talking about this topic for like close to a month now,
Mm-hmm.
and I struggled.
I do think deja vu would count.
Interesting. Okay.
Because think about it, right? Like you are, well, at least when I experienced deja vu, we were just talking about this like a week ago.
Yeah.
When I experience deja vu, sometimes,
Mhm.
not every time, a lot of times it's reactionary, right?
Sure.
Like a thing happens and you go, this has happened before.
Yes.
Sometimes, I know this is going to sound like bullshit, but there are times where I know it starts to catch up to me in the moment, and I know how somebody is going to respond or what they are going to say, and then they say it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I like have that like moment beforehand.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and our one friend was literally like, well, deja vu is just like our brains are so complex.
Yeah. You're picking up on patterns.
Right, that your brain picks up on patterns and is just doing pattern recognition.
Yeah.
And, I'm pretty brilliant, so my brain is obviously very good at that.
It's so big.
And so sometimes I'm able to actively in the situation predict what is going to happen. And then, yeah, of course, there are going to be times where you nail it.
Right.
And then like...
And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh, but because it's happening so fast and in such like a tight window, it feels, you get that rush of deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
I can sit here and say like, at the end of this episode, Shelby's going to say, stay brothy. And then it can happen.
Yeah.
And I can be like, wow, I was right.
Yeah.
But there's something about like in the millisecond before having that thought of like, I know exactly the cadence you're going to say it. And then you do it in the right pitch and cadence that I hear in my mind. It feels
like you're seeing the future, like about a second before it happens.
Right.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So it's like different than that. I would say yes. Moments like that are definitely ones that I think you could like say fall into this like phenomenon of like a simulation breaking experience.
Sure.
Something that just is like, again, it feels like it should be impossible, or it feels like the odds and the rate of which that would happen is so astronomically low, yet it happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say deja vu is like a good one, and that's what I was gonna say is like, you're only going to remember moments that are so powerful and so like memorable. And honestly, it's really tough because I really only have, I think, one.
Sure.
That I can like immediately draw back to because it has stuck with me so much.
Okay.
Outside of that, it is really tough to like sit here and be like, what is a moment that like kind of like gave me that like rush? But I have one.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
In our senior year of high school, we went to Disney, right? Mm-hmm. I used to have a shirt that people would refer to as Steve from Blue's Clues. It was just like a horizontal striped green and blue, I think, or green and
yellow,
dark, like a dark blue, navy blue or something. Horizontal, like thick horizontal lines. So like maybe like
every
5,
like
6, 7,
2.5 inches.
Maybe like maybe like there were like 8 stripes total or something. Yeah. People would refer to it as Steve from Blue's Clues. So if you can picture that, that's the color it was. Mm-hmm. I am wearing it in Disney, and it's not like a particularly like weird shirt or like
you like
rare.
Probably got it at Kohl's.
I probably got it at Kohl's.
Yeah.
Walking around Disney, I'm coming through the castle.
Okay.
Right in Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
And I pass somebody who is wearing the exact outfit that I'm wearing. So I was probably wearing that shirt and like khaki shorts
and like,
or cargo shorts. And this guy was wearing that, had a buzz cut, which I used to have.
Were they 6'4"?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we were like the same height or anything,
Okay.
but we definitely like looked similar.
Yeah.
Like if he committed a crime,
you
that
might be
day,
mistaken.
I would have probably gotten grabbed.
Yeah. Grabbed. Yeah.
And detained.
Sure.
And then we would have been in a lineup together.
Sure.
And the person would have had a tough time.
Sure. Yes.
And we pass each other.
Yeah.
And we both stop, turn,
right,
look at each other,
right,
and go like up,
That's
down,
weird.
up, down. And we just kind of carried on.
Right. That's pretty funny.
That was wild.
I quite literally don't have any means to talk about this today because I haven't done an ounce of research that I'd want to do, but you're approaching like the concept of like doppelgangers and stuff.
Close, yeah.
And I know it's not quite the same, but you're like approaching that. And I think that is a very fascinating topic in itself.
Yes.
But it also applies obviously to this.
Yeah, doppelgangers are definitely like simulation breaking.
Right, because I've like...
Because you shouldn't be in the same spot as your doppelganger.
Right.
Because that means they're going to steal your soul.
I don't remember. Probably. I have never experienced like looking at someone and being like, I feel like I'm looking at myself right now. But you know how like you'll be somewhere like I was on like a family vacation like years ago, and my uncle insisted on like going out to the beach like every morning at like 5:30 in the morning or some shit. And every day he'd be like, Shelby, you have a copy here. Like you have a person who I literally thought the first day you came outside at 5:30 in the morning, and I almost came up to you and was like, Shelby, what? Like you don't wake up earlier than 10 a.m. What the hell are you doing out here? And like he literally was like trying to find her like for the rest of our trip because he'd see her every single morning and be like, okay, so she's clearly like in the same area as us and like is on a similar trip timeline as us. Like you have to bump into each other at one point or another. And it became like his mission. And we like never saw her like again, he would see her in the morning.
Yeah, she was a ghost.
And then like he wouldn't see her again for the rest of like the day. And it like drove him crazy because he like wanted me to confirm that like we looked identical. And it like bothered him because he would be like, wait, I know Shelby's not out here right now. But I've never had that like me experiencing that. I've had like people come up to me and be like, I literally thought I saw you and like almost went up and talked to you and like it looked exactly like you.
Yeah.
And I think that is like so fascinating. Again, doppelgangers, crazy. Would want to actually research more before I even remotely talk about that. Yeah. Because I know there's been a lot of really interesting things said and researched and discussed about it. But it does sort of bleed into something else that I don't know. I have complex thoughts on the whole simulation thing. But we take like personality tests, we take all these things, and like they're basically able to boil us down. I know it's not to say they're perfect. They can basically boil us down to like 5 personality types, right? Like in theory, every human
falls into a
bucket. Yeah,
100%.
And without even agreeing with personality tests or anything, I'm like, I see that in my day-to-day life. Like every person you meet, it's so instinctual to be like, oh, they remind me of my cousin. Oh, they remind me of like this friend we have. Like if I was describing a stranger to you that you'd never interacted with, I'd be like, oh, they basically have the personality of our friend, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And like, it's so easy to do that because even though every human's experience is unique, there's so many overlapping factors, like so many, to the point that I almost want to be like, the human experience isn't that unique.
Your experience,
yes,
your overall experience is unique.
But it's
no single aspect of your experience, though, is unique.
Correct. It's like why it's so easy to relate to other humans on about almost anything.
Right.
Like,
and you can find something relatable with anybody.
Anyone. Exactly.
Like you can sit here and be like, the Kardashians are not relatable in any way whatsoever. Right. But you could relate to them
in some way.
Something.
Yeah.
Like your father was the lawyer for a very prolific court case that involved a cop chase with a Bronco and a potential murder suspect.
We've all experienced that.
And yeah, exactly. Like
it's the
we all
universal
can relate.
Experience.
on something,
Yeah.
you know? And that's how I at least relate to the Kardashians.
Right, of course.
And their experience.
Right. But I find that in itself to be incredibly fascinating because I, to my core, like, don't believe the human experience is that unique.
Mm-hmm.
Again, like you said, every human's overall experience is incredibly unique. It's yours. It's literally no one else's in the order it happened, in the way it happened.
Right.
That is true completely. But to me, a huge comforting thing is like anything I'm experiencing, every other person, or at least a vast majority, has experienced in a very, like, in a way, as like they know what I'm saying.
Yep.
So like, I don't know, to me that's like a comfort thing. But
yeah, because if you zoom out and you look at something like,
it's just not, it gives you community without needing, like, without having it truly. It
100%.
Removes isolation. That's the word. That's what I'm trying
the
to say.
more you drill in, the more you like try to hone in. But like you said, you can put every human into 5 buckets.
Yeah.
But you can make those buckets smaller.
Sure.
And then need more buckets.
Sure.
And then you could still put every human into,
those buckets.
10 buckets.
Yeah.
Or
exactly.
you know what I mean? And like, you can put us all into 1 bucket.
Yeah.
We're all breathing. You know what I mean? Like, we're all humans, right? And so like, you can start there. And so that's already a shared experience. Then you can try and like break us out more. And you can keep going, but you are always going to have somebody who falls into a bucket with you.
Yeah, exactly.
You can never have a bucket all to yourself, except for, like you said, your overall experience of like the order in which the events of your life have happened to you, but no
individual fact is ever going to be unique to you.
Just about.
Yeah.
Like it gets to the point where it has to become so far-fetched and so crazy. Like a new disease happens.
Right.
And you are the first and only person to ever contract it. And then
right. But like
and then it disappears.
But like statistically the odds of that are like fucking insane.
But it's like you think about something and it's like, oh, like plane crashes don't happen. So you could be in a plane crash and you are not going to be able to have like a shared experience with probably most people you run into.
Sure.
But that does not mean that experience is not shared.
Exactly.
It's just like,
I find that to be very fascinating because so basically I couldn't come up with any particular simulation breaking experience. So I just was trying to think of like, one is this idea of simulation, being in a simulation, like how new is this idea? Because obviously we say in a very technological aspect, because obviously technology. But I'm like, there's literally no fucking way that we just like randomly one day decided this is a thing. Like, that's impossible. Again, no unique thoughts or experiences being a human. So I was Googling it, and what we know as like simulation theory, I think they call it, like was popularized in 2003 by, I'll just actually say the guy's name so I don't just totally talk in general vagueness for everything, even though probably a lot of this will be. In 2003, philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed the simulation argument. He like wrote a book and it came out in 2003. And basically he was like, it sounds like what he's arguing is, which this is the argument, it's the odds of us being in a simulation are incredibly high. And regardless of how you feel about that, you can't argue completely one way or the other. You can't convince me we are, but you also can't convince me we aren't. Like, you can't prove.
Do you know what that is equal to, but yet people would get up in arms if you pointed that out?
Literally religion.
Exactly.
Well, then, so that had me like thinking. I was like, okay, again, this can't be an original thought. It's not an original thought.
Yeah.
We're just using it in the form of technology because we've now like advanced to a degree that we're like seeing what's possible.
We can see simulations as we run them.
Exactly. So who's to say exactly. But I mean, it literally goes all the way back to like the big one that most people would know would be Plato's allegory of the cave.
Yep.
And it's talked about in like philosophy and like it's written about, I mean, like literally I was looking at like lists of like, it was like, are you in a dream state? Are you like conscious? Like that's been literally debated for fucking ever, like ever since humans.
Do you real quick want to like maybe explain the whole cave thing?
Oh, the cave thing. Allegory of the cave. If you don't know it, it is what?
Well, because you just like kind of breezed by it and like.
Because in my brain, that is so cemented in me.
That's fine.
But I know it's not to everyone. No,
well, like if
fair.
I bring up like the ship of Theseus, it's like I should maybe describe
no, that's a good
like
point.
what it is, just in case.
No, that's a really good point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm telling you though, like I'll explain in 1 second. I'm telling you though, we learned about the allegory of the cave in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And we watched like I'll say a video where it was like read out loud and then kind of like visualized as what's being described. That shit stuck with me so hard. Like I can still picture the video and like not a whole lot has stuck with me from public education in terms of like uber specific, like
right, like the mitochondria.
writings. Yeah, like mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, like mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, and then Plato's allegory of the cave right underneath it for me. Anyway, the whole concept is I believe the very, very specifics is that Plato is writing this as a conversation between Socrates and his brother, Plato's brother. But basically what they're saying is that like these group of, I believe they were criminals or something, were chained in a cave and they had very limited free motion. So basically all they could do was sit or stand and stare at this wall. And then what happened was this wall was partially illuminated by a fire behind them. And then people would be like passing by, thus creating shadows on the cave wall. And they're there for so long that's their reality. Their reality is watching these shadows pass on a wall, and that's all they know, basically. And the argument is that, like, I forget if in it they say one person does get free, but what they're arguing is very few of them ever try to get free because it's all they know, and they don't question their reality. They just sit there and accept it for what it is, even though there's a whole world right behind them actually existing and living and, like, not literally chained to a wall and forced to watch shadows all day. So it kind of brings into doubt, like, humans' free will, what we're willing to question, how far we're willing to, like, you know, go somewhere we don't know. It's kind of like questioning a lot of those things. But it also is obviously bringing into question, like, you're given the reality that's in front of you. Are you just accepting it, even though you don't know the length at which it's quote unquote real?
Right.
You don't know if that's it. You don't know if that's at the end. There's nothing else to know about it. Like, are you just sitting there and accepting it for what it is? Or are you, like, trying to, you know, turn around and see what actually is going on?
Yeah. I mean, there's a delicate balance to
for sure.
how to, like, think about these things, right? And I think, I mean, again, it's kind of like you said, you can't really convince somebody how to think about stuff. But it's like, we all should be as open-minded as we can possibly be without allowing our belief systems and stuff like that to impede on other people's like free will.
Exactly.
So when somebody says like aliens exist, that doesn't do any harm to anybody. And like, it's kind of the thing of like, there's nothing to tell me aliens don't exist.
Right.
So it'd be very closed-minded of me to say, no, there's no way that aliens exist. It would also be foolish of me to punch the person in the face who says, no, there's no way that aliens exist, because I'm so dead set that aliens have to exist.
Right.
The universe is vast, so the likelihood is that there has to be something else out there.
Right.
But maybe there's not.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. I see...
I definitely think that one fucker on Mars forgot to pull the spoon in and allowed us to see that.
Fucking Kevin.
And
Kevin.
He's
in trouble.
He was put into a cave, and now he just sees shadows all day.
Oh, poor Kevin. I think, like, one, I just think it's fascinating. I was trying to Google. I was like, and I don't know this. I couldn't find a quick answer in the little bit I was looking into this. I was like, okay, so Plato's writing this story, this dialogue, this interaction. And it's like being performed, like it's being like discussed and performed, and, you know, contested and whatever. Did people think he was crazy?
Yeah, probably.
Right? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, but now we're studying him. And not to say you have to agree with him, but we're like, oh, this is fascinating. Like, you thought about, you know, human existence. And now, you know, you go on the internet and you're like, are we in a simulation? And it takes you to are we in a simulation? And I really didn't go deep because I was like, I don't really need this in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, I can take the thought. I don't need the, like, I'm going to dig so fucking deep into this and, like, lose my sense of existence.
Then conspiracy theories and then all that stuff.
So I didn't dig deep, but it's like, we are now, I think, in a very fascinating way, we've never stopped doing that. We've never, maybe it's now just obviously because of the internet and general levels of education and all of that. Most people are now just doing it over, the select elite who we saved their writings and now study them. I think that's like literally so fascinating. And I think completely it like ties alongside religion, where like we're all just curious as to why of anything. And I think it's like you're saying, it's the like whatever you stick to or whatever you believe, it's obviously just like accepting conflicting opinions, where it's like always what gets us in trouble, like over and over again.
Yeah.
And again, I have really I've like pretty much always lived my life that I kind of think anything's possible because I don't know. And I'm very comfortable in that. Like I'm comfortable in not knowing.
There was this whole thing where, and stick with me.
Sure.
There was a person who was like, help me like deal with my child who says that everything in life is 50-50.
Yeah.
Like no matter what, the odds are 50-50.
I love this.
And no matter how much I push back, they always come back and go, well, the odds are that it either does or doesn't happen. And they're technically right. But also that's wrong because like probabilities and stuff like that and statistics, like you can drill down to like just about anything, so that no matter what, there's always a 0.000000000000001% chance that the inverse thing could happen. But there are plenty of things that is like 99.99999 that it will happen or whatever. But in a lot of ways, a lot of things in life, especially the unknowns, are literally just like Schrodinger's cat. You do not know until the box opens. So, people can say that there is like a God and there's a heaven, there's a hell and all that stuff. You will not know until you are released from this mortal coil.
Literally.
Right? And until you leave this plane of existence, that is when you will know whatever potential afterlife there is. Or not know, because lights out and that's it.
Right.
So everything is literally, or not everything, but a lot of things that we don't know are effectively just that... that thought experiment, that process of like, it won't be until you have the proof that is so hard and like the evidence is so perfect to tell you one way or the other, like you just won't know.
Yeah. And even then, as we've all experienced, you might have what you think is concrete proof, and whether it is or not, people are going to go, no.
People are still going to say that, no, the earth is flat, and then they're going to get a free trip to Antarctica to find out that the earth is in fact not flat. Unbelievable.
I just think overall, like, this is just kind of a greater...
I think I'm going to become a crazy person.
I think you're already there.
Oh, damn.
I just personally, again, as someone who, like, as annoying as that might be, has no strong feelings about anything like this.
No, that's like the right...
I mean, we can't say it's the right thing.
No.
We can't.
We can.
That's what we're literally saying.
No, we can say that that's the right thing. To keep your mind as open as possible to any possibility.
Yeah.
I think that is truly the right way. Now, whenever you choose to like tie your beliefs to and say that like this is the thing that I think is most likely.
Yeah.
I can't tell you you're wrong to think that thing is most likely.
Right.
But if you sit there and go, well, no, it has to be this.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong.
Yeah.
I do think you're wrong.
I agree.
I think you have to, if somebody wants to come up to me and say that there's a giant spaghetti monster in the sky, there fucking might be.
Yeah. They might be onto something.
I don't think so.
Right.
But there might be.
Right.
And I'm not going to put any of my eggs in that. I have 100 eggs.
Whoa.
I'm not going to put any in that basket.
In this economy, you have 100 eggs?
I have 100 eggs. It cost me $3,000. And they're going to go bad.
Yeah, for sure. You're fucked.
Why would I buy 100? And why would I pay that much? The value of them is only like $10 per 12 or something like that. Or no, 10 for 18. I don't know what we just bought. Anyway.
It doesn't matter. Good bit.
No, I'm not. I'm just trying not to have a Roman. I don't know their last name in succession. I'm not trying to have a moment where I don't know the price of milk because I drink oat milk and we make our own.
We make our own, which
we didn't talk about.
Update to be coming in the future. Yeah.
So you're right. I can't tell anybody that
Yes.
they're wrong, and I can't say that any one thing is right.
Yeah.
I can say which one I think is the most right, but I
Right.
do think what you were saying about how you just kind of like float around in the possibility.
Yeah.
I do truly think that that is, from a holistic point of view, the right way to view things in life, because how the hell can you be so steadfast on
Right.
something that you have no
idea.
verifiable proof of?
And I completely agree. And it's like, to me, that's what makes humans like the most interesting. Like, I think like all of us just don't know what's going on, but we're trying anything in our power to have some grasp of reality and like understanding and purpose.
Some power over our purpose.
Yeah, like we want control. We want like, because there's comfort in that. Like,
100%.
and I think that's like literally so fascinating. Like, I could read about that shit like all fucking day. And so like I love hearing about people's thoughts. It's the like, yeah, it's the abrasiveness of not being able to hear those people's thoughts that is like truly to a core what gets us in most issues as humans.
Like I and religion is probably like the biggest culprit of that.
Yeah.
And I get it, because again, like you said, people want to believe
It's
that they have
giving you
control. So
it's giving you
faith.
like what you believe to be your whole purpose of existence.
Yes.
And trying to tell someone you might be wrong.
Right.
That's like not easy to take. I mean, no matter, like, you're a kid. Kids, if you're listening, stop. You're told Santa's not real for the first time.
You did not give enough time.
I don't think kids are listening to this. I fucking hope not. But like, you're told Santa's not real for the first time. The first thing you do is go, nuh-uh. My mom told me Santa's real. Like, and yeah, hopefully you can have a bit of a more mature reaction, but we've seen a lot of people don't. So it's like,
right, a lot of people are
you're told
still
your
just
reality
kids
is
finding
like,
out that Santa's not real for the first time.
Exactly.
40-year-old men
Yeah.
are just kids finding out that Santa's not real for the first time.
Sometimes.
No, most of the time.
Yeah. But like, I get, like, again, there's like a defensiveness to not necessarily being told you're wrong, but being told to question what you believe so strongly.
I think defending your beliefs
is like good.
Is fine.
Yeah.
I think being able to like come back and be like, no, here are all the reasons why I think like God exists.
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think like being able to have those kind of conversations and stuff like that are good and like
healthy.
Yeah, healthy for humans as a whole.
Yeah.
But again, no matter what, you can't then stand there and be like, and you're wrong.
Right.
Because this has to be true.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're right. People just, it has to be true for them, because if it's not, then what have they been living the way they've been living for whatever.
Right.
And so many people don't even follow,
Oh, right. I mean, that's
a
whole nother
But the
thing.
people who, there are plenty of people who I think are, rational, but still that is like one thing that they can't be rational about.
Mm-hmm.
And it is fair.
I mean, it's incredibly personal.
Yeah, but again, I think like, like again, there are plenty of conspiracy theories and plenty of things that are far-fetched for sure.
Sure.
And they're only far-fetched to you for any number of reasons.
Right.
But no matter what, like again, you can't. We're all just thinking,
no, literally, and I think that's what's so interesting.
So you can't. Just no matter what, you can't be like no.
Yeah.
And as long as you can try and like keep an open mind about things, you might learn something new. You might find out something new. You might find a whole nother. I'm constantly falling for, like new belief systems and stuff as I find out more information or think of different things that come to me, and I'm like, oh, what if this is how it all works?
Sure.
So I'm constantly floating around.
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine being tethered to just like one idea. I can't imagine just like putting all 100 of my eggs.
All $3,000 in eggs.
Yeah, $3,000 for Fabergé eggs.
Oh my God.
So it's actually a steal. 100 Fabergé eggs for $3,000? Are you kidding me?
Are you sure they're real?
I have to go call somebody. I'm putting, if I put all 100 of my eggs into like God exists, has to. God has to exist.
Yeah.
I don't know. That just would suck.
Yeah.
Like that to me, like not being able to like have that like freedom and like fluidity
And like
in thinking,
questioning, just having questions. Yeah,
don't get me wrong. I do sometimes envy people who have religion, because it is easy. Like they're just like blinders.
They're like, this is it. This is the answer. It like gives you a sense of a baseline of truth.
And it's just like I just don't need to I don't even need to think, because then if I think, I'm going to get anxious, and if I get anxious, I'm going to have a panic attack, and if I have a panic attack, I'm going to meet my Lord and Savior a little too fast, and so I kind of get it. And at times I'm like envious of it, but also I love going through the thought process and like saying something, and then somebody being like, well, that can't possibly be, and it's just like, okay, but what about? And then
what about a slight adjustment to that?
Let's workshop it a little bit.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I have about 50 eggs in this right now, and if this doesn't
they are
happen,
going bad as we speak. No, I agree. I find it really fascinating. And again, I think we unfortunately talked about this like not that long ago, but like the concrete, it's this or the highway is like to a T what turned me off from the small stint of religion I had in my life. Being told this is it, and everyone else is wrong, I was like, that's the craziest sentence I've ever heard in my life. Because they're saying we're wrong.
Right.
Who's right in that? Like, probably neither of us in reality, if we're all pointing fingers and going, I'm right, you're wrong, I'm right, you're wrong.
Right.
Multiple people are wrong in that scenario if we're all saying each other's wrong.
And if anybody's saying that they're right and can't prove that they're right, while saying somebody else is wrong but can't prove how they're wrong.
Exactly. I know. So, again, not to get down that whole rabbit hole, because I didn't mean to turn this into a religion thing, but it does very much mimic kind of like these thought, like, again, like in texts for generations, we've been debating consciousness, truth, reality, who's controlling reality, are we controlling our own realities? Like, we've been debating this, like, I mean, literally forever.
Yeah, I mean, I think religion's just the easiest one to point to, because the one thing that we can't know is like the afterlife, and so much of religion focuses on that, like how the afterlife is set up, how many virgins you get, like stuff like that.
Hopefully a lot.
I mean, more
do
than
they ever
70
run out
of virgins? Ever. We're constantly making new virgins every day. That I don't feel good about.
No, I didn't like that. I think because I kind of laughed uncomfortably.
You're born a virgin, but I'm talking legal age.
Right, and consenting.
So every day people hit 18.
Right, that's true.
But I
don't know. Oh my God, will there ever be a day where someone like?
Uh-oh.
Well, no.
Yeah, save me.
No,
save me.
No. I was about to ask the dumbest question ever. I was about to be like, will there ever be a day that like it's not someone's birthday? There'd have to be like less than. There'd have to be like so few people on this planet.
There'd have to be less than 365 people.
Not necessarily.
No, not necessarily.
But that would up your odds dramatically of that being.
No, if there are less than
that'd be a guarantee.
It would be 100%.
It'd be a guarantee.
365 is like, there's a 99.99999. But you could have an instance.
You could have an overlapping. Anyway.
What is it that if you're in a room of like 30 people, the odds that two people in that room share a birthday is like astronomical.
Really?
It's insane.
I didn't know that.
It's really interesting.
That's fascinating. We're all not that so different after all.
Yeah, we all have shared experiences.
So anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed this little.
Listen, I
could talk about this shit for like 5 years.
I had a lot of fun with this.
Yeah.
Even if we didn't get to talk about actual like things that broke the simulation.
Well, because
for us.
I couldn't think of any, and then I was like, I could Google some, but I was really afraid the rabbit hole that would send me down, and I didn't feel.
You were scared it was gonna awaken something.
I didn't feel like I wanted that experience, and so as someone who just finds, I would say, philosophy and philosophical thinking very interesting, I felt like this was a good way of approaching it. So anyway, I hope you all enjoy it. You can find SMSoup Podcast on all podcast streaming services, including YouTube at SMSoup Podcast. You can find both of our socials in the description. And until next week, stay brothy.
I knew you were going to say it like
dude.
that.
You fucking
called it. And I knew you were going to
it.
say it like that. And you were going to be kind of bored with it. And like, very relaxing with it. Not like Stay brothy, like not like a
Sure,
little
sure,
singy or
sure.
anything. I knew
Sure.
it. I knew
You
that's how
did.
it was gonna be.
You called it.